Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Don't really know whether this video is actually going to work today. We did have a bit of trouble with OBS this morning with the Daily Brief, and I do see I hit the record button here, and I'm getting sort of red buttons and then green buttons, so I don't even know if this is going to work. But hey, what the heck, we tried. And considering how much you have to pay for this, I don't think anybody's going to complain if we miss a day or two. So, we're marching our way through middle of October here. Now, just about exactly bullseye middle of the month, it looks like. Of course, we've got big political events coming up in a couple weeks down south. Also, that COVID sickness issue is ramping up. And interesting how I've noticed through the year very specific dates I've been following for these Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjuncts, and how this sickness seems to ramp up right almost like on schedule. I do find that fascinating. I don't know whether that is the function of this this planetary event cycle this go round. I mean, we're all students of the market, eh? But, we went apeshit sickness here, and then there was the event. And ironically enough, once the event happened, the market was fine following. Did start getting some talk. Remember, we had that May 2-4 weekend, and then people were like, no problem. And then all of a sudden, sickness started kicking in, and, we're freaking out. And the event happened, and the market went back into bull. So here we are. We got another one of these big honking events coming up. It's interesting how we did not follow the market symmetry study along here at all. We were kind of postulating recently, do we have head and shoulders that actually want to take us up to new highs? Could be. We are getting an inside bar failure here on the stocks. Also to NASDAQ, the sort of that mega F kind of story looking a little heavy. And interestingly enough, actually for a trader, this isn't a terrible level to be hunting short setups here. A simple tool we like to use to identify trade location is the Fibonacci retracement levels. And you can see how we just came right up into reload zones, put in a nice pretty little inside bar failure, and issued a sell signal there this morning. So is that purely a function we got to clean up this big push straight up here? Probably. Does this start getting some traction and maybe we actually get back to sort of this market symmetry kind of thing and we trough heading into this event, which is what I've been thinking. I would actually consider that event following the election, following the sickness sort of panic peak. I get the impression there's going to be a week or two of, no, we don't believe the election results and recounts and all that kind of stuff. But I do like the idea that once we get beyond this event window, I think the market can actually go into bull. And interesting too, like we're actually starting to hear out of things like Fed governors that they believe that actually we might actually be basically seeing the end of the recession. Chlamydia, I can't remember what his name is. Clarida. Chlamydia is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, sorry. Where are we here? Today's Wednesday, right? I think he was speaking here this morning. Yeah, right here, this speech right here. And he was saying, according to the data, I think actually the worst of this is behind us. We do have the stimulus packages, and of course the bankers can lend against that, so they don't have a problem with their balance sheets. And it's just really a question of can we, get on top of this COVID and figure out some sort of vaccine or some sort of plan with regard to vaccines. What I'm also hearing too is the cocktail of drugs that they've sort of created of late has reduced the death rate. Yes, hospitals are filling up, but the number of people dying is backing off. I don't know whether that's statistically valid or not, but nonetheless, I do like the idea that, once we get beyond all this, I think we could be setting ourselves up for a further move higher here in the market, believe it or not. So, as for today, actually issuing sell signals on the stock market at appropriate technical levels. I mean, there's two reasons alone. If you saw any sort of momentum divergence or, breakdowns in oscillators, that could be your third reason. So it doesn't surprise me that, some traders are actually shorting this. Specifically for you guys, I like to keep the conversation just to this, so at least it's relatively clear. U.S. dollar index had a big, smart rally back yesterday, and this is kind of where we're thinking maybe the gold market might empire out off of this event. And interestingly enough, the empire did fire an overnight session in the gold. So we're just, it'd be really interesting to see if the gold loses these lows here. Remember, we always say it's not a good idea to take a trade at a trend line. You probably want to see resolution on the other side of it. So really good analogy of that here, where you probably don't want to go short here, or because this will happen to you. Bang! Now, if we can get on the other side, and really I think the key is take out that overnight low. If structure comes in over here, then I think your gold market's toast. And for the time being, it's range. Clearly these lows and this high now, that's some sort of buffer to the upside. And these recent lows obviously are our pivot to the downside. Not really overly enamored with the gold market right now. And actually what we're concerned about here is this goddamn oil. Just went in and put a bullish inside bar here today. So that's pointing back up. Remember, we had sort of said, look at, we took a short shot off of here. We were going to move our stops down and just follow the trend down. And then the market came snapping back. So we were kind of like, maybe we should just hop off here. Maybe if we're lucky, this can M out here. Maybe we might have actually a justification for stepping back in on the short side here. But right now, that actually is looking uppy. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. So maybe these guys are waiting for the election to sort of finish. Obviously, there's a lot of politically at stake, whoever wins this contest. Maybe you find that the Democrats win and oil just collapses. Republicans win and the oil holds it low and starts churning higher again. Tough to say. Nothing really for me to do here at all right now on either of these. Risk off, I suppose, with the U.S. dollar rallying smartly yesterday, but coming back down today. We're getting, kind of wonky messages we've heard here recently. Remember, Monday was a bank holiday, so they were away, but they've come back in the bond market and they're bidding price up. So that would be risk off. Gold market is trying to rally. That should be risk off. Oil market rallying. That should be risk on. Stock market topping out, an inside bar fail off a Foggenbaum level. That should be a risk off. So 3 out of the 4 of these are agreeing. It's just oil seems to be off on its own right now. And I think I kind of talked about that recently. That something about the oil market's price action right now doesn't make sense. Something else is going on here. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Risk on, risk off kind of convo. Small caps versus large caps. I get the impression we're sort of just parked here in a very tight little topping range against previous highs. Interesting, you can kind of see that there is this big honkin' W that's trying to come in here, push us higher. And I also see that on a bunch of breadth indicators. Unfortunately, this isn't really the best place to get new bullish. If you've got positions on, awesome. And we push higher, great. You're probably going to get ready to sell halves on doubles, blah, blah, blah. Do you really step in on the long side on something like that right there with this huge risk window and that gap open there? And keep in mind, there's the March low. So, oh boy, this thing's coming off a long way. But it feels like when you look at sort of the breadth of the market, it feels like market was relatively bullish through, all of sort of, 2017. Actually interesting, even through this study, you could make the argument that the broader market wasn't really that happy. But there is your March capitulation dump. I believe this is like a dead cat bounce, boing. Now, guys like I always mispronounce his name. I want to call him a venereal disease, but that's very disrespectful. Let's make sure we pronounce it correctly. Clarida is saying, hey, looks like the recession's over. And if that's the case, then this will catch and we will move higher. The stock market will catch and will break to new highs. The oil market will catch and will break to new highs here. And we can kind of see that in a bunch of breadth indicators, kind of like our little breadth indicator on the site, just flirting right at that 50 line right now. If this is a bull, the market will hold the 50 line, it will catch higher, and will launch up into the upper half of the breadth study. If we look at the broader market, and all the various different internal indicators that we use to measure breadth, you can see the advanced decline line number, stocks advancing on the NYSE versus decliners. That's moving higher. If this doesn't crap out and lose this moving average and can tick back up, that's more bullishness. Stocks making new 52-week high, 52-week lows. We just did press up, on that sort of euphoria through the end of the summer there. This isn't really M'd out yet, so that looks relatively okay. This is an interesting one. Number of stocks below or above their VWAP. When you start seeing a huge portion of the market above their volume-weighted average price, that's usually a bad sign. But if you start getting spikes where a whole bunch of stocks are below their VWAPs, then really you should be looking for some sort of bounce. We did get a nasty little M there, so that sort of maybe speaks a little bit to the S&P 500 breaking down here a bit. But nonetheless, dipping down into these lows, we probably should see some sort of rebound. We'll keep an eye on that one. Gold, silver. Remember we had talked recently, if this is pointed up, then that's bearish of the economy. If it's pointed down, that's bullish of the economy. So it's got M's working there. Hopefully we can bust this little fast trend line here and keep churning our way lower. VIX index really isn't in a position to be either hugely bullish or hugely bearish. We did break to new lows here, so that in itself should imply that we're heading lower. Lower highs and lower lows defines a bear. At the same time, too, we're not really at panic trough lows where you can just no-brainer go in and buy the market. So kind of no man's landy-ish. But, if we really want to see a frothy, insano, okay, get ready for a top, well, we want to see the VIX index all the way down here. Right? Down. Especially if you can get the VIX. This is even a really high reading for the VIX. Believe it or not, I actually think the top of the market comes in when the VIX gets down into here. And if you ever see the VIX in single digits, that's like a no-brainer, got to short the market. Usually that doesn't happen, though, until we get to like sort of late summer, sort of silly season kind of trading. So, not really getting any huge signals on any of these one way or the other. All right, let's get back to your story here. Sorry. Can we catch and transition into a rip-roaring bull? Hey, I'd love it. I'm long a bunch of stock. I think we're right on, and frankly speaking, being so close to the election event, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some, sell the rumor, buy the news kind of scenario. Does it really make sense to go ape shit uber bullish so close to that event? I don't think so. If anything, it's probably best just, if you're going to buy setups, okay, fine, buy your setup. But, maybe temper your insanely bullish enthusiasm. Probably also along those lines, we had crypto run up into what I would have considered a very quick, very fast bullish setup that actually produced a nice 2-to-1 risk-reward trade. Now that we're up top here, unfortunately, you notice that on this move to new highs, momentum indicators did not go to new highs. Willie did get nice and stupid there. Unfortunately, yesterday I was a bit insulting to the public, so my apologies if you were insulted. But you just have to somehow understand that, when you start seeing these divergences in indicators and Willie being stupid, you're probably best just to cool your jets. Who knows how this is going to consolidate? My hunch, for whatever it's worth, is I think we're carving out a big sort of head and shoulders here, fractal kind of price action. We always say, market doesn't ever, repeat itself exactly, but it does often rhyme. So if we go along those kind of thinkings, then if this is some sort of fractal, then we're probably going to do something along these lines. And sure enough, it's not bad. I mean, we went down, we went back up. Now we seem to be coming back down. So, I mean, it's sort of heading along that direction. But I guess what I'm sort of thinking here is let's just, let's maybe just consolidate a bit. It would probably even be better if we could just to get through this month. But for the time being, trading-wise, let's let these divs just calm down. We might actually get another cute little buy signal coming in here shortly, but there's nothing right now. And poop coins, basically the same thing. Spend some fun time in the daily brief with the community here today. If you can play these little altcoins, I think Trex is up to their fun little games. They seem to be trying to get their act together. So what I see is little names that were just absolutely dead to the wind are actually getting bid up here. Whether you buy W's or not, that's up to you. Whether you can actually even trade on this exchange, entirely up to you. There's names like this little Pay, where I just even looked at this as we go through the daily brief, and I'm just like, gee whiz, Kevin, I got to go grab some of this. So I just did, 0.01 BTC worth, not much. Sprinkle in some more bids, no problem. But I don't know whether that idea is going to work, but, we're starting to get signs of divergences trying to form in here. Willie's nice and stupid. We're getting W's in Williams percentage R and RSI. Looks like there's even a little W there in OBV. I know, I can't say that. Not quite a W in OBV. It looks like there's a little W trying to come in MACD, but who knows? You can't really endorse the fundamentals of these stories because they're all shit. You just got to look at this chart and go, is there any chance this thing could maybe rally up into this window here some point over the next year or two? And I think there is. So I went and did a little nibbling here today. And, on a daily basis, I do see these little names are just slowly... we have an old expression in the market, the longer the channel, the bigger the run. So, ironically enough, I'd actually prefer this thing just to sit down here and do nothing for the next year or so, and then when it does break out, all hell's going to break loose. If it survives. I mean, I think I've told you guys before, I buy a lot of shitcoins. I mean, I want to own everything. So, when I spread the jelly out and I own everything... well, if one or two of them go off the board, nanny, nibble, little old lady kind of stuff, it's not the end of the world. The key here is, for God's sakes, don't come in and buy these things when they're right up at the top end of the range. You got to take your shots when this stuff is down at the bottom end of the range. And then that way, if you come in and buy, you can see a lot of these are buys from a year or so ago, and they're all just basically sitting right at or near these levels. So the irony of it all is if you can force yourself just to do nothing, every once in a while you're going to have a dog. Like this Raven is a total dog. But even so, I went and picked some up off of here. I might go and just do another little nibble of 0.01 BTC. But, if this thing survives and it gets its act together, has it got any room to move up here? I think so. But if you come in and chase and buy up top here, you might be trapped in these names a very long time. So, caveat emptor. I don't really tell you guys what to buy or sell. Hopefully you kind of get the message of the market from me. That's sort of the purpose of these videos. And the message of the market right now is we got a big political event coming up here in the United States of America in the next couple weeks. So probably not really in your best interest to go bet the farm. Just go slowly. If anything, maybe even wait till buy when it snows, sell when it goes, to actually start accumulating in size. Okay, I wanted to maximize that. I'm not quite sure why that doesn't work, but I will. Oh, look at that. No, nothing's working. All right. Okay, I think I'll leave the free video at that for today. Sure hope you got some value out of that. Go slowly here, folks. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't gotta bet the farm here. Buy when it snows, sell when it goes. Don't take no wooden nickels. I think somebody said they liked that expression. All the best, and bye for now.